everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Cliff Brown, and I will be your host as we walk through this presentation and help you discover the difference that BricsCAD can bring to your design and drafting efforts. Joining me today is Julie Kavarian, our lead technical specialist. She will be walking us through the details and the demonstration. And with that, we know your time is valuable. We're going to go ahead and get started directly. An important tip we want is that while everyone is on mute, we do encourage you to use the questions tool to send us questions. We will try to answer as many of those during the session, as well as answer additional questions with follow-up. And with that, let's begin to walk through the difference between BricsCAD and other 2D, 3D professional CAD solutions. First, we'd like to talk a little bit about Brixis, the company. A lot of people don't know that Brixis is a worldwide organization with offices, as you can see, all around the globe, and quite a variety of offices and resellers here in North America. We're a division of Hexagon, international company devoted to helping construction and manufacturing and process companies achieve their goals. With that, we have partnerships with our other brands such as Leica for reality capture, MSC software for analysis and metallurgy, as well as manufacturing tools. So whatever your needs are in construction, building design, and manufacturing, the solutions from Brixis and Hexagon can help you. The tool we're talking about today is BricsCAD. So what is BricsCAD? As you can see, it's fast and powerful design and drafting software. BricsCAD is the cost-effective alternative for people that are looking to manage and control their 2D, 3D design solutions, but want access to all of the professional and powerful capabilities required to get their job done for both creating, viewing, editing of designs and documentation, and preparing them for manufacturing and construction. BricsCAD's sole mission is to help our customers solve their design problems faster. The variety of capabilities that we're going to talk about are really the key differences that we're going to walk through today are the ones you see here on the screen, as far as cost, the flexible licensing, the fact that BricsCAD is a native DWG solution. So all of the power, the true power of DWG and the advantages of having a industry standard data format become available to the clients that are using BricsCAD. We're going to talk about the differences or the advantages or the additional functionality today, but we're also going to highlight the familiar user interface. So with BricsCAD, you are getting the best of both worlds. You're getting all of these additional capabilities that you need wrapped up in a familiar user interface and data format so that you can get started immediately once you've selected BricsCAD. So what are some of the differences? Well, first, BricsCAD has an open design approach. And what this means is that we leverage all of the existing technologies for design, whether it is parametric design or freeform or variational design, whichever method or model you're using in your workflow or you're looking to adopt, BricsCAD can support that directly. BricsCAD has intelligent automation. So these automation tools allow us to reduce and in some cases eliminate the most common repetitive tasks, bringing you additional functionality and reduce time to market. We've got a unified platform. And so with a unified platform, that means that whether you're starting in 2D, you're working in 3D, you're doing BIM, or you're doing fabrication, it's all one tool. When you add on top of that, it's all DWG, you start to eliminate the interface problems that you might see when you're using other tools, where you're trying to manage a variety of different data and extensions, and one product doesn't read the information, so you have recreation. All that's eliminated in the BricsCAD environment. On top of that, we know that as we are seeing an explosion of data, an explosion of design types, and of sharing of information, we start to get models that become untenable, or you can't really use them for real-time design and editing. With BricsCAD, we have a variety of tools using machine learning and AI that are available to help you optimize the size and content of your drawings. We have many cases where we can, with just a few menu clicks, you can reduce the size of the drawing by an order of magnitude. And that's something that we'll talk a lot about when we walk through this demonstration. And the advantage that it brings you is the ability to bring in data, leverage data, and maintain real-time performance no matter where you got the information. And lastly, the difference is that BricsCAD is probably one of the few solutions that still provides you complete choice when it comes to your licensing options. This is so important that I'm going to drill down on it for a moment. And that the licensing advantages of BricsCAD is that you choose the model that's right for your business. Whether it's perpetual licensing, so owned for life, or network, which allows you to share an outstanding model when your users are both expert and casual users. Why buy the full product for someone that's only going to use it a couple hours a week, if that? With the network licensing capabilities, you can address those customers, and that tends to be a reason why many companies have decided to make the switch to BricsCAD. And then we also support subscription. So basically, again, whatever your choice is, what's right for your business, BricsCAD has a licensing option for you. This all combines with our industry-leading cost of ownership. So with BricsCAD, again, we have the perpetual option, we have the subscription option. So unlike other vendors, we are giving you access to both. And what we like to explain to people or showcase is that just look at your options. If you decide that subscription is right for you and you make the move to BricsCAD, you can see that 2 years of BricsCAD subscription is 20% less than a single year of some of the other CAD tools. In addition, if you choose perpetual, which is by far what the majority of BricsCAD customers are looking for, if you choose perpetual licensing with BricsCAD, you get the licensing and 3 years of subscription or maintenance for about the same cost as a single year of AutoCAD subscription. So when you're looking at the functionality, when you're looking at the ease of use and the consistency in the user interface, the licensing options, which you can see here, and the affordability, the decision to consider and then make the move to BricsCAD becomes, as many of our clients say, a no-brainer. Now we've given you a little bit of an understanding of who we are positioning the company and the product, and we've walked through some of the key differences, as well as the unique familiar user interface and DWG structure. What we'd like to do now is give you an opportunity to see the software in action. So we're going to provide an industry demonstration. This example is going to be for the retail industry, but it's important for us to make sure that you understand that we have clients in virtually all of the construction and manufacturing industry segments around the world. So BricsCAD, again, this demonstration is retail, but BricsCAD's available wherever you need 2D, 3D, and more from your design solutions. We're going to start by working with an existing layout, or which you could have created from scratch. So we'll start with the existing layout and make edits based on input from the owners and the customer. And then we're going to finish up with 3D design modeling and documentation and rendering. So you're going to get to see the full end-to-end. And since that's why we're here, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over and let Julie do the demonstration. Before Julie starts, I want to remind everyone again that we'll be taking questions throughout the session. So please feel free to add questions. And with that, Julie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. All right, now you should see my screen.
And yes, we can.
All right, great. Thank you so much. All right, well, let's get started. So our focus today is on the automation and optimization tools in BricsCAD Pro. And as Cliff said, our example is a 3D layout of the store. But before we dive in, let's take a look at just how familiar BricsCAD is, because BricsCAD is highly compatible with the user interface and user experience that many CAD users already know and love. And that makes BricsCAD easy to learn. The user interface looks very familiar and delivers all the information you need to be productive right away. You have the ribbon, menu bar, toolbars, dockable panels. Of course, you can customize this as well. And BricsCAD is pre-configured with workspaces for drafting, modeling, mechanical design, and BIM. Currently, I'm using the modeling workspace, and as we said, we're in the BricsCAD Pro edition. BricsCAD's native file format is DWG. That means you can open your drawings and continue working. There's no translating and no migrating. You'll recognize the concepts of model space and paper space, and those tabs are just where you'd expect them to be. If you've customized drawing templates, you can bring those existing templates right over into BricsCAD. We've added the BricsCAD Layout Manager to quickly and easily create, organize, even delete, and publish your layout tabs from one convenient location. Now, here is the retail store layout. And many of our 3D fixtures have been placed, except for a couple of shelves along the east wall. So we've seen that BricsCAD's familiar, but it's also a little different. And it's different because of the intelligent automation tools that eliminate those tedious and repetitive tasks that take up a lot of your time. So let's start with the BricsCAD Quad Cursor. It's an AI-based tool palette and a heads-up display at your cursor. Depending upon the type of entity highlighted, you'll be presented with different tools. And the quad learns from your behavior. So it analyzes tools that you use most and then makes the appropriate suggestions. See how intuitive the quad is here as we copy these 3D solids. Now the quad is keeping your focus on what you're creating on screen, so you don't have to look for commands and menus and toolbars. That said, although BricsCAD offers these new tools like the quad, you can still use commands that you already know because BricsCAD is command compatible. Use muscle memory for command names or aliases. In this example, CO for copy. Now, if you're not quite ready for the quad, that's okay. You can quickly turn it off from the status bar. But I think you'll really want to use the quad. When you need to copy, move, rotate, and mirror, hold down the left pick button on your mouse just a little longer, and the manipulator appears. The manipulator offers all the standard copy and displacement commands without command input, again allowing you to focus on what you're creating on screen. The manipulator works in 2D and 3D. The nearest distance feature shows the distance between any two entities or sub-entities. To change that distance, type in a new value, and you've implied the move command. Now, of course, BricsCAD still supports traditional commands you already know, like rotate and copy and move and mirror. So it's your choice to use those commands or to use the manipulator. BricsCAD also uses the familiar concept of block definitions and block references. We can manually create blocks with the familiar block command, but we'd still need to replace that geometry with a new block definition. Instead, the Blockify tool automatically creates a block for these fixtures. And Blockify finds all instances of that matching geometry and creates that new definition, as well as here it created those 12 block references for the shelves. So BricsCAD did it much faster than we can do manually. Looking at other parts of my drawing, I see that many of the fixtures are 3D solids, which is a bit of a surprise because they used to be blocks. So my guess is somebody accidentally exploded them. Whoops, you know, mistakes happen, no matter. We can easily fix this, again, using Blockify. But first, this is the BricsCAD Drawing Explorer, where BricsCAD manages those blocks and all style content currently in this drawing. Now, the goal of Blockify is to improve the structure of the drawing or of the model. The Match Existing Blocks option automatically replaces those 3D solids with the existing matching block definition that's already in the drawing. An added benefit of using blocks, as most of you know, is a reduction in file size, which is always a good thing. And here we see 67 blocks inserted in seconds. How long do you think it would take you to insert 67 blocks? Now, we don't have 3D blocks for all of these fixtures yet. Here are some 2D blocks for these produce bins and a couple of refrigerated cases over here. So we can model these fixtures in 3D. If you are new to 3D, you'll find the BricsCAD's direct modeling approach works intuitively, much like digital clay, but with full CAD accuracy. If you're already familiar with 3D, you'll be right at home with BricsCAD's intuitive modeling tools. One of my favorite differences, though, is that BricsCAD automatically detects boundaries, which can then be extended or push-pull. How easy is that? And we can use familiar tools on the solids too, like copy. All of this makes modeling in BricsCAD familiar and easy. And you can see we've got a pretty good start to the produce bin here. It can be further modeled and eventually look something like this. So let's jump ahead to that. And there it is. Now, we have another example for the refrigerated case. Start modeling with primitive shapes, 2D profiles, or imported geometry. Anything you create can be extruded, swept, or revolved into shapes using, again, commands and workflows you already know. This simple extrusion of the profile creates the main body of the refrigerated case. We've got a few things already modeled, and here it is at completion. I've saved copies of these two blocks to a folder on my computer already, but now we can use those to replace the existing 2D blocks with these new 3D blocks. And that's the Replace Block tool. So this will replace specific block instances with other blocks. The existing block can be selected by name from a list of blocks contained in the drawing or graphically picked on screen. And that new block can also be selected by name or selected from its folder location. All references of the selected block are replaced. Here, those two produce bins. Now, let's see that again, but this time we'll work with the refrigerated case. And there they are. There's one more fixture we need to work with, and that's an end cap that needs to be mirrored to the other side of the row of shelves, which is that end cap right there. Now we could do that, or we could add a new parametric flip line to the existing block. So let's do that. Now this is the library panel, which is a quick way to create, organize, and access your blocks. Names and categories are completely customizable to make it easy to find your blocks. Just open the drawing file directly from the library to edit the block. So it's no longer required to use block edit. But first, let me change to the drafting workspace. Changing workspaces switches up the menus and toolbars and panels that are displayed by default. Now, we've recently made enhancements to existing parametric block features, and we've added some new tools as well. This flip line creates a line as a reference axis to flip the entities of the block. The flip parameter will mirror the block along that axis. Now again, I've already saved this copy of this new block to my library panel, so we can simply drag and drop the block directly into the drawing from the panel. Now notice that little blue circle. That's our indication that this is a parametric block. Now the flip line automatically creates a special type of parameter. Once inserted into the drawing, we can change that parameter from the properties panel. So it's flipped or it's not flipped. It's that simple. In addition to flip line, we've made other enhancements to parametric block functionality, things for visibility states, reference curves, a stretch function, and some others. So let's now look at a door block that uses some of these new parametric features. Because, and this is important, it's now possible to have one parametric block to show the door open or closed, to flip the hinge and or flip the swing, and best of all, to place that single block in walls with various thickness. So here's our block. Now visibility states have their own new visibility panel. In our very simple example, the door can be opened or closed. Flip lines are used to flip the hinge location or door swing and are represented with the green lines. The flip line's placed on its own layer and that can be toggled on and off. You can change the layer color as well. The same applies to the purple reference curves. Now reference curves are used to align the door to a certain wall thickness. In this case, we've got 8 inches. However, when the reference curves are parameterized, they become fuzzy so that this one door block can be inserted into walls of 8 inches or 4.5 inches, various thickness. And we saw that by animating those parameters. Now, if you're wondering, yes, fuzzy is a technical term. So let's go ahead and insert this door block into the plan. We'll see how the door snaps to just simple lines representing the walls. This first one is 8 inches. The second one is 4.5 inches. The same block can be inserted into both of those. Now with the block inserted, we can turn off those layers for the flip lines and the reference curves so they're not visible. And then by selecting the block and looking at the properties, we can control those parameters. So we've just seen how BricsCAD provides intelligent automation tools like the quad, blockify, replace block, and parametric blocks. But BricsCAD also provides tools to help you organize and optimize your files. So let's go back to the store layout. We've got a couple of slanted produce blocks. They look identical, but if you notice, they have different block names. And then over here, we managed to have one block inserted 4 times in the exact same location. So how are we going to fix that? Well, we'll do that with overkill. We've optimized overkill to detect duplicate block definitions and duplicate geometry. So first, we'll run overkill to combine the identical block definitions and purge the duplicate blocks. Notice the new dialog box. Now, both of those slanted produce bins use the same block definition, and the other one's been purged. So, same name. Running overkill a second time will address those duplicate entities over here. The new dialog box makes it easy to choose properties to ignore, set comparison tolerances, and other options. Duplicates can be deleted immediately or moved to their own layer for a later review. We can review that information and decide what to do with the duplicate entities by simply turning on the original layer and duplicated entities layer, turning them on and off and see what's what. Now these intelligent tools automate tasks which would otherwise take up a lot of time and manual work. Overkill automatically improves your drawing integrity, and that's important because when your drawings are neat and tidy, those file sizes go down too. Now in this example, we don't need the duplicate entities on that layer, so we can just delete the layer and the entities it contains. The 3D layout of the store is complete, and the store manager is asking for shop drawings and rendered images. Both have been started. So let's take a look with the refrigerated case. When you're modeling in 3D, you need an easy and reliable way to create 2D details from your 3D creations. BricsCAD generates fully associative drawing views directly from your model, and you have complete control over the layout, the scale, and the style of the views you generate. Select the entire model or just a portion. Choose from preset types of generated drawings and their placement in the layout, or change the visual style and the style for the isometric views, whether it's a rendered 3D view or a 2D drawing. Now, once those are placed, other views can be added too, such as cross sections, rectangular, or circular detail views. In our example, we'll cut a cross-section view of the refrigerated case, then add a circular detail cut at the corner base of the case. These views are updated automatically when the original model is changed, again, saving valuable time. We've also made improvements to multi-leaders or M-leaders to better control the frame and with more standard frame choices right out of the box. Now, the M-leaders I'm placing will correspond to a list of parts for the refrigerated case, and we'll see that in a table format shortly. The frame type can be set in an individual M-leader's properties, seen here in the Properties panel, in an M-leader style defined through the Drawing Explorer, or both. And it's never been easier to align M-leaders. Now, here's a version of our shop drawing that's a bit further along with additional sections, details, callouts, and dimensions, but we still do need to insert the linked table that contains the list of parts for the refrigerated case. That corresponds to those M-leaders that we just placed. So a spreadsheet was created with the information, then linked as a table in BricsCAD. If we change the spreadsheet, the table link will be updated too. All right, shop drawings complete. What about construction docs for the 2D plan view of the store? Well, here we've got that. The dimensions were placed in model space. If you prefer, though, you can place dimensions through the paper space viewport. Again, a familiar workflow. Again, it's your choice. Also, notice the annotation and documentation tools are familiar. Well, what about your favorite existing dimension style? Well, if that's already in your drawing, then it's already available to use in BricsCAD. And of course, those dimensions display right here in model space. All right, what about that rendering? Well, let's pop back to the modeling workspace. BricsCAD uses the Redway 3D rendering engine. Materials are also provided. It's easy to drag and drop materials onto a surface, or hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and the cursor turns into a dropper. That allows you to select an already assigned material and assign it to something else. If you don't find a material you need in the render library, that's all right. You can add your own materials and textures. And when the image is rendered, the result is a digital image with texture, lighting, and shading information, which can be saved as a bump, JPEG, or PNG raster image. Now, this is a perfectly nice image. It really shows us what this case looks like. But if you need something a little bit more realistic, the BricsCAD BIM edition offers a Datasmith connection to Twinmotion, and that allows you to create still images like these or videos. Now we'll wrap up the demo here, but just as we saw, BricsCAD certainly is familiar, and there are also some differences. Today we saw just a few of the intelligent automation and optimization tools that differentiate BricsCAD from other CAD software. All right, Cliff, back to you.
Thank you, Julie. I think you've all seen through that presentation a good overview of what BricsCAD has to offer and what the differences are from these solutions. Julie walked through the presentation and helped us understand everything from design layout in the 2D space, 3D space, the design of equipment quickly and easily, and then the final piece of the process where she was creating shop drawings as well as other documentation, all the things that you need to do. Also in the all-in-one environment in BricsCAD, you, as you saw in Julie's demonstration, you can start anywhere in the process. You can update drawings. You can start with models that will update the drawings. You can move, bring other content in. All of those functions and features are driven in the same environment using the same DWG file format. In addition to showing you a lot of the differences in the performance advances and improvements, Julie also walked through the fact that the solution is quite familiar. It's the same tool panels. It's the same command line. It's basically an environment that you are familiar with so that you can start using the tool right out of the box. We've told you what we think. We've given you an overview. We also like to finish these presentations by letting you know what our customers are saying. Here you can see this example where they felt that BricsCAD was the only real alternative to the solutions that they were using when they decided that they wanted to choose their licensing model. Subsea 7, over 1,000 users worldwide, got up to speed, made the switch and got up to speed on BricsCAD in a matter of weeks with no additional training. So that is moving everything in their environment, making sure everybody understood where the tools were and how to use the existing as well as the new tools, moving all their data. And again, to get started and keep doing their work, there was no drop in productivity. And whether you're a large organization or a small 1 or 2 person firm, cost of ownership is important. And as you can see from this example, customers are migrating to BricsCAD to take advantage of all the capabilities, to get started quickly, and to save money.